Hi, this is Wishop. Welcome to your weekly reading that goes from Monday, July 27th through Sunday, August 2nd. This is actually Tuesday. I've made them as late as Monday, but never Tuesday before. I was traveling and I tried to make it while I was out of town and I screwed up the video so it wouldn't upload. So here I am doing it again and a little bit late instead, so sorry about that. It's a very interesting week. I'm going to flash some cards at you to show you why. The astrology is pretty odd and interesting, I think, and you may already be feeling it. We are going to have a full moon this week on July 31st at Eastern Time. It'll be 6:34 a.m. and that moon is going to be in Aquarius. So I want to show you right now we've got 5 planets in retrograde, or we will be experiencing them this week. 5 planets, everything from Saturn out and Venus, all retrograde, which means a lot of inward reflection in a huge number of areas because all of these planets are in different signs and different houses if we think of the classic houses. So I just wanted to go through those really quick with you just so you could sort of, if you're feeling strange, hopefully you'll feel very justified, like, oh, okay, there's a good reason why I feel so weird. All right, so let me start with Pluto. We'll work from the outside in. Okay, so hopefully you can see these. You can pause the video later if you'd like to look at them again. This is Pluto. Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn. We think of Capricorn as being a sign that has a lot to do with practicality, with career, with determination, as being part of the 10th house, which is career and destiny. We've been dealing with Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, giving us that pull for a while. Now we'll go back in here. Here's Neptune. We've talked a bit about Neptune retrograde in Pisces. Okay, so in Pisces, it deals with deep intuition, idealism, poetry, but also being a part of something like a school of fish. And so in the 12th house, it can deal with deep issues of faith, but also issues of conforming in large institutions and your role in large institutions. So that's going on. Let's go to Uranus, which is now retrograde or retrograding in Aries. So Uranus we know as sort of the lightning planet, the planet of the unexpected. Here it does stir up the situation. In Aries, which is the first house, which is about sort of sense of self and doing it my way and determination and willpower, it also can have to do with your place in the world, sort of how you promote yourself in the world. And Uranus is a very revolutionary planet. I apologize for the glare. Hopefully you can see this. Uranus is a revolutionary planet, and so it is having us look within at our sense of self and possibly redefine that. Okay, so now let's go to Saturn. Saturn is retrograde, and we've been dealing with this for a while. Saturn is retrograde in Scorpio. Scorpio is a deep and intense sign. It's a no bullshit sign. It's always what I say, but it's true. Saturn can be thought of as a taskmaster. Saturn sets standards. Saturn deals with issues of obligations and duty and honor, but also the self-respect that you gain from those. In the 8th house, we're dealing with personal power and major changes. So what kind of changes might you make in your everyday life, your day-to-day, that would have to deal with Saturn? So you look at that and you go, that's a lot of areas for me to be thinking about because they're retrograde. Well, the moon is sort of a permanent retrograde if you think of it, because the moon is always, oops, I'm actually forgetting a planet. This is crazy. Okay, Venus in the personal planets is retrograde, retrograding in Leo. So Venus has to do with love and money, abundance, beauty, and Leo is a very self-confident sign, and it's about joy and fun and appreciation. And in the 5th house, we're dealing with issues again of romance, of artisticness, of childlike enthusiasm. So Venus is now retrograde in Leo, and it's asking what kind of things make you happy. and it's sort of deeply lighting up your lust for life, maybe in some uncommon ways. Okay, I knew I wasn't done with all the retrograde planets. Okay, so here's the moon, which is a permanent retrograde planet as I sort of think of it, because it is reflective, right? So it's whatever it goes to, it's always reflecting. So unlike a planet when it's direct, which is sort of pushing outward, the moon is always pushing us to go within and think about how we feel and what our intuitions are. So the moon, we're going to have that full moon in Aquarius, which is going to bring culminations. Well, a lot of these planets are retrograde in later houses, 10th, 11th, 12th house. These are late developments if you think of the wheel of the zodiac. So these are endings of things, not in a bad way, can be in a great way, but endings of things. So in the 11th house, when we deal with Aquarius, again, sort of complementing that Uranus energy, we've got the idea of nonconformity, of doing it your own way, of blazing new trails, doing it for humanitarian ideals, but definitely going to the beat of your own drummer. And so all of these things together are really pushing us to re-examine our own lives and what we want to do and who we are. And so what I would say is Venus is the personal planet that's retrograde now. That is really one of our day-to-day fairy godmother kind of influences. She's going to go direct again in September, early September, first week. So just expect during October, you're going to be having so many thoughts about all these things. And the I Ching, it really reflects that too. You're going to have so many thoughts about all these things. Try to let them settle out a little bit. You are going to be pushed to take dramatic action. And if you really are, and your heart says this is what you have to do, especially if it's something you've been thinking about for a while, but maybe you haven't quite had the momentum to do it, then this might be a good time to make those big changes. But do expect that everybody else is going through them too. So everybody's going to be a little bit crazy now. I don't think it should be a hostile, terrible crazy. I think it could be a lot of fun kind of crazy, where people let their hair down and people drop some of their posturing and try to get real with themselves. And as we're all undergoing this pressure together, hopefully we can laugh at ourselves and do take on this challenge with that childlike sense of fun and playfulness, because I think it's going to be needed. The I Ching this week was Wind Over Wind, which gives us the card 57, the Gentle. I hope you can see this. The Gentle, it says penetrating, a soft approach, faith, moderation, a subtle but deep influence, understanding, and nonviolence. If we take this beautiful image and think about the fact it's 57, that adds up to 12, which is the same number as the Hanged Man. And we can think of the Hanged Man as standstill, I'm stuck, I can't get out of this. But we also think of it as a change of perspective. All of these planets turning upside down and backward, for lack of a better way of saying it, can give us a chance to see things a new way. So be gentle with yourself while these revelations are happening, and be gentle with other people too, because it's going to be a bit of a wild ride. And I don't think it has to be a terrible one. Actually, I think a lot of these culminations and new things are things you've been waiting your whole life to happen, or passions you've wanted to return to for many years. So hopefully it's going to happen, or hopefully that is the way it will play out. But whatever happens, being kind to yourself is never a bad idea. So I'm going to flip the tarot cards for this week. I'm using the Shadowscapes Tarot. I've got stones here. You can sort of think of them if you want to. This is Numite, a very grounding stone. This is Angelite, more of an upper chakra stone. And here I've got Heliotrope, or Bloodstone, which, even though it is sort of technically lower chakra, because it's got the red and green together and it has to do with heart and blood and vitality, I always think of it as sort of a nice heart chakra stone. Anyway, if any of these appeal to you, think about the cards sitting behind them and whether or not that has special meaning to you. So let's look at them all together. The Knight of Wands. Okay. Oops. Okay, can I do it? Maybe not. All right, Seven of Wands. Seven of Cups. Okay, I love this. This is actually very, I think, reinforcing some of the ideas that we had. I'm going to scoop my chair a little. Hope you don't mind the noise. Okay, so if we look at the Knight of Wands, we think of this obviously as the Knight of Fire, and it's an action card. You can see ready for action, and you can see these foxes everywhere. This is saying you may feel ready for action and ready to go. But the Seven of Wands reversed says, don't get into fights about it, right? You can see these animals circling each other, and it looks like, combat. And we think of the Seven of Wands as something where you may be feeling defensive, or you may be feeling like you have to take the high ground. So here, you don't want to be combative, and that emphasizes what the I Ching says. And the Seven of Cups often is a card of indecision. We've got lots of choices and we don't know what to do. So when the Seven of Cups is upright, sometimes we think, oh, don't procrastinate, get on with it. The Seven of Cups in reverse says, you know what, you don't have to decide right now. You really don't. You can just let these cups present themselves to you, and you can make a decision when the time is really right for it. So if any of these stones stood out to you, you might want to think about whether or not that message really has something to say. This Knight of Wands is about being raring to go, but a knight is a messenger on a mission. So you don't just go out for no reason at all. You don't start a war just to start a war. You do it in a good cause, and that's what makes it noble. So if you're not sure what your cause is, the moon in Aquarius, the full moon, which is a blue moon because it's our second full moon of the month, is going to bring some of those thoughts, those high-minded thoughts about our ideals, what you really want, what wars are worth fighting, because not all of them will be fought in a physical way. In fact, many of them will be fought with creativity and with cooperation and with working together voluntarily, we hope. And see, here's this, the gentle, which is understanding and nonviolence. And I'm a big fan of kicking ass when it's necessary. There are times when you have to defend your boundaries vigorously. However, this is a week when I think everything is in such flux, and I think we can expect it to be through August, that kicking ass, you're going to end up in your own ass-kicking machine, and your ass is going to be the one getting kicked. So before you put a target on anybody else, just take it off, relax, and really think about having some laughs, because things are going to get weird, and people are going to be riding by with unicycles and ducks on their head, and it could be a really fun time. If you are the kind of person who's wired so that that is not fun at all for you, there's nothing wrong with that, and you are perfect the way you are. There's nothing wrong if that kind of like crazy loopy energy doesn't sit well with you. But then too, just know it'll pass, be gentle with yourself, turn inward, think about the things that you need to do, that you want to do, that you value, and you'll get through it just fine. Because no matter what you do, no matter what we do, we're all being transformed together. So have a great week. Rock on with your retrograde selves, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.